Well, the annual Seattle Asian American Film Festival is getting ready to go virtual this year. The festival goes from March 4th through the 14th. And I spoke with filmmaker Tran and SAAFF's Ellison Shieh. You know, obviously due to COVID, what is SAAFF going to be like this year?
So this is our first time being all virtual. We have everything hosted online, and some films are limited to just Washington State or the Pacific Northwest states, but most of our films are available throughout the U.S. We'll be running from March 4th to 14th, which is our longest festival ever, which is very exciting, and also our biggest one with 123 films.
That is incredible. And one of the benefits I would imagine to being virtual is that now more people can be involved and attend from all over the world. Bao, you're a filmmaker. Tell us about your film Paper Tigers.
What? When the hands cross.
Paper Tigers is a kung fu comedy. It's about three out-of-shape kung fu classmates who have avenged the death of their master, but they have kids, they have jobs, they have wives. Kind of a comedy of errors in terms of them trying their best, but they're going to pull some hamstrings along the way. So we shot this in Seattle a couple of years ago, and we're glad to finally bring it home to SAAFF as our Pacific Northwest premiere.
That sounds amazing. I cannot wait to see that film. What is the importance of the Asian Film Festival in Seattle, and why is it so important to highlight artists now?
I mean, it's not just about seeking representation, right? Not just about seeing ourselves on the screen, but sharing more and more of the voices and perspectives and stories of folks who don't get a chance to have a bigger platform. And we share primarily indie films, which a lot of folks wouldn't be able to find anywhere else, especially now during the pandemic, boost all of the stories and the works of these artists.
I think it's especially important, especially now, as Ellison mentioned, with the pandemic, you know, in this special distinct case, Asian Americans as a group have been facing undue prejudice and undue harsh treatment, especially with this past year. So it's an opportunity also for us to be able to sit around the campfire, proverbially, and be able to share our stories and show that we're not that much different from each other, and that we also have stories and personalities and feelings and emotions just as everyone else. So it's also an important way just to be able to talk and share a story in that sense.
The sharing of stories is so key. Ellison, would you share more of the independent films that you mentioned? What else will we be seeing?
Yeah, so our opening night spotlight is The No Good, Very Bad, Terrible, Longest, Worst Year, which is all COVID related.
2020?
Yeah. So we spotlight so many different stories in this program, from like documentaries about healthcare workers to business workers impacted by the pandemic, and like people's creativity, and some great shorts that have blossomed because people have had the ability to work on different things. And we do have some local films in there too, including one about Hmong flower farmers here in Seattle who adapted to the lockdowns early in the pandemic.
Y'all, it sounds like there are going to be some incredible films. How can we participate? I have got to see Bao's movie. I'm on board 100%.
Yeah, Bao's film is actually a very limited screening, specifically on March 6th at 7 p.m. So you want to get your tickets for that and not miss it out.
Now, I just have to ask, what are you most excited about? Obviously showing your film, but what else are you most excited about with SAAFF?
Well, SAAFF has always been our family throughout this, you know, even before the pandemic, for many, many years, especially in this region. And just being able to showcase and connect filmmakers, Asian American filmmakers from around the country, also Canadian filmmakers, Asian Canadian filmmakers coming down to visit and show their films. So it's always been a kind of a great breeding ground for creativity and a way for artists to come and meet each other. Because I've seen a lot of artists and filmmakers start to collaborate after meeting at the fest, and they also have made films that return to the fest. So it's always been just one big, great, happy family in that sense, and just being able to kind of, again, be able to share our stories with each other. So SAAFF is a very fun place in our hearts, and we're so happy to have our Pacific Northwest premiere here. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun lineup in terms of the programming, and hopefully everyone can check out as much as they can at SAAFF.
And remember, SAAFF goes from March 4th to the 14th, and it's all online this year. To get more ticket info, just head over to New Day's website. We've got everything you need to know right there.